And the more you contribute to others in developing family, town, government, all of those things you contribute energy to it away from yourself, the better it grows.
You're watching the Spotlight Network. Starring Hollywood's newsman, Logan Crawford.
They now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International were abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford. Streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're exploring a powerful book. It is called The Human Universe and Its Purpose and Destiny. It is a groundbreaking book written by Reverend Flash, also known as Robert Flash Kingsley. It is a book that bridges the gap between science and spirituality. In the book, the Reverend takes readers on a thought-provoking journey through creation, consciousness, and the future of humanity. It is an eye-opening exploration of how understanding our divine origin can help us unify and transform the world. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Studio of Books for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Reverend, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Great.
It's great to have you on the show. You did a wonderful job on this book. Let's talk about the inspiration behind it. What inspired you to write The Human Universe and Its Purpose and Destiny?
Well, I had been younger, early 70s in my earlier life. I was recommended to go to seminary since I liked religion so much. I was a big Christian fellow, and the clergyman said, why don't you get a career, in religion, go to seminary. So I started doing that, but found a lot of conflict with different religious views, and and it wasn't settling for me. So I decided to start my own independent research and to find out about many of the things that haven't been recently discovered, like Tibetan lamas and what they believe and understand, and their coordination with universe understanding that they have. And it led me into different sources on this planet and into universe societies and what they do to make their civilizations correct and performing, that we should be doing. So then eventually I wrote a book about it so people could see what that's all about.
Wonderful, wonderful. We were talking before, and you mentioned that you are a universe-trained reverend and pastor. Tell us what that means, a universe-trained pastor.
What that entails is that in my research development, I had to go to sources that are not generally understood here or known about, but they are elsewhere. And for instance, the Palladians and the Arcturians, and these civilizations have different information to offer, which is hard to discover. Also, I studied very intricately in sources from 1750 BC in Egypt, which had a divine spiritual society at that time and in development. Those sources are very difficult to uncover. And finally, the Urantia book, which is on this planet, studied in 26 languages around the world, is the only universe source of anything that we have relative to what goes on out there, given to us by celestial beings.
You've spent years working on this book. 4 years, you mentioned? Tell us about that.
40.
40.
40.
Okay. That's considerably more than 4. Yeah.
Yes,
so this is in many ways your life's work.
Well, as a pastor and a guide for human spirituality, that is my life's work in a nutshell. And then when I discover through all these things, I find how the universe utilizes these things too.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to us about the relationship between science and religion in today's world.
Well, the interesting thing was when this world was developing and the Catholic Church was primarily in charge of education and the intellectual part of society, and this is 300-400 years ago, they had their ideas from the Bible that, for instance, the Earth was the center of everything, the solar system, and all the things were revolved around us. And then scientist guys at that time, astronomers, they found it to be a little bit differently, that maybe that's not so. Maybe the sun's the middle of it. Well, as it turned out, there was a division between religious understanding of that spirituality point of view and what scientists were coming up with. And the divide lasted for about 400 years, the chasm between the two and understanding each other and what was available. But then all of a sudden, recently in the 20th century, those things have merged because science understands the intelligence of the universe. The quantum energy is very intelligent, and it's probably related directly to God, they think, scientists. And sure enough, the religious people say, yes, God is very smart. And so putting these things together in a good formula of understanding for the modern mind was a very big part in all of this.
Absolutely. You have such a unique view on the human spirit. You view it as an extension of the universe's creative energy. Talk to us about that.
Well, that's one of the things that's very important for our world to know, and which I point out very clearly in the book, is that each and every person has a speck of God within them to be born into a flesh being. It's tappable. It can be understood with prayer and meditation, opening the door to it. Now, the entire universe is based on all things on the frequencies of positive and negative. The polarities of things are what make everything happen are recognizable, especially in the third dimension. So a person is no different than that. It has a beautiful spiritual side on the positive side, or on the other side, the ego, which is on the negative part of the polarity of the human being. And they, like ego-oriented people, serve themselves. They're only interested. Little children do this. It's just about themselves. Nobody else. They don't care about another thing. Unfortunately, this planet that we're on, compared to other planets, we have nearly 90% of the population is primarily interested in their egoic development rather than utilizing the spirit. So by changing that, getting more spiritual value, like in, for instance, our nation, In God We Trust, if you do that, you open the gate, you become well. You don't keep arguing with each other and everything. You find what the answers are that God believes, and you join together and you realize this, and you make policy be correct.
Yeah, absolutely. Your book encourages people to seek personal and global growth by harnessing unseen forces. Talk to us a little bit about that, how we can harness these forces.
Well, the forces are, as I said, available to everybody who has the open mind and heart to accept them humbly. In other words, they need to share that experience with others. That's the entire prospect of God, is serving one another. And the very reason that people are on this planet, which I point out in the book, The Purpose and Destiny, they need to know that purpose about being on teamwork, about being not for yourself. And the more you contribute to others in developing family, town, government, all of those things, you contribute energy to it away from yourself, the better it grows. And the better people involved with that grow with you and together. And the whole thing is a responsive best thing that can happen. And that's why the founding fathers put that motto, In God We Trust, because they knew that was the solution and direction people needed to go to make it work.
Exactly. Our trust in God is so important. It's so vital to this great land as well as to the world. Intelligent awareness is part of your book as well, as a key to rebuilding civilization. Talk to us about what intelligent awareness is and how it can help rebuild civilization.
Well, intelligent awareness involves the science of it, the metaphysical aspects of it, about what a person is and how they respond and living in a flesh being, and what they do here in their life, expectancy and the time they're here, and why they were born into a flesh being in the first place, and where they go after they leave. So those are the type of things that haven't been available to understand in past generations. It's only till recently in the 20th century or so, and the 21st century, that you can really relate to people on this spiritual scientific aspect and teach them how they are a part of it and how they can respond with it and be totally great with one another and make progress happen.
Absolutely. What's your vision for humanity's future?
Well, my vision is that we had this tremendous nation founded by fellows who came over from Europe to get away from oligarchies and monarchies and get away from the kingdoms and the things that were ruling people improperly, giving people a chance to start to live together in a democratic society and help each other to vote for what they needed to have happen and be a part of progress and make their nation strong. We were to be the torchlight of freedom, an example to an entire world. Well, the Universe Project is now, this is a universe design to show everyone how it can really work great. And it did for a time. But nowadays, people have kind of slid away from that and then don't respect the motto so much. And for instance, on the back of the $1 bill, the lowest paper currency that we have, is a circle with a pyramid in it on the back and an eye at the top of that pyramid. And the eye is in God we trust, looking down on us. And it was designed for them to have passed through people's hands, the lowest currency, as a reminder. This is the kind of things we have to keep in our heart and minds and work together as that team to make it great, or it won't be so good. So, and we're in a channel where we need to get back to that and improve our situation so it will resume being the way it should.
Seems like there's a lot of trouble in the world right now. Crime that seems unprecedented, political polarization, objectification of others. What do you think's going on, and what do you think can change these divisive forces in our country today?
I think the number one issue in that is back to the polarity of the individual and get them to realize the positivity that they can offer to each other. So in other words, making strong families, making strong community, making strong government. One of the things was when early in 249 years ago, when the country was founded, they set it up to have, the balance of power in the structure of the Senate and the Congress and all of the things, and financially set with to be properly, and Supreme Court and so forth. But with the current standard of you doing political parties, it keeps everybody separate because they have their own issues that they're trying to defend, rather than once you're elected, the parties are put aside the way the founding fathers designed it to be. Everyone is under the same umbrella within God we trust, so they can all realize what the good decisions need to be made together as a team. So that's the real big missing element. They're just onto their own egoic standards and trying to defend their party system and that kind of thing. But when you're involved on a federal level, you have to go a step higher.
Exactly. You have to answer to a higher authority, as Hebrew national
Yeah.
hot dogs say, right? You got to realize that God is above us all, and
Right.
and
And there for everybody. Yeah.
there for everyone, and has a plan for this country and for the world, and it'll
Sure.
be fulfilled by the people of faith, no doubt. Talk to us about how readers can apply the lessons in your book to improve their own lives.
Well, it's an interesting thing. After 40 years of research and many tomes of information and sources, what could I put into a small volume that people could absorb to get them interested to be on track and what it's all about? So I started out, basically what we are on this planet, how the nations became formed, and they were kind of angry at each other. Xenophobia was big. They were afraid of one another, and all this stuff, and warlike and so forth. And it took quite a while for them to have commerce to join that all into an international scale eventually. And the nations started to communicate, and some were friendlier than others, but it all came into a formula where the general universe has the concept of successful societies being a planetary unit, which we are developing now. We're trying to get a planetary society, trying to get planetary agreement so that the warlike tendencies go away. There's nobody to fight for or with or against. We don't have to do that. We are one society on this big globe together as people. And so revealing that kind of concept in the book to see where we have been, what we need to go do forward, and with that result as a tremendous thing, as an entire aspect of a global society, is really the directive to help things get going.
What is the biggest misconception, in your opinion, that people have about God or creation?
I think when religions started talking about God and getting into the public view of their own particular religious views and their own sect, what they would do is they'd say, well, it's my way or the highway, or our way is the best way. There isn't any other. So we had a number of different sources of God around the planet that people would be arguing about it. Well, this is what drove me out of seminary, is to find out, well, wait a second, what do we need to really know and how? And so with that misalignment with everybody, they weren't using the same God and the same theme under the same umbrella of understanding, which is changing. We know because the quantum energy of the intelligence of the universe is one God for everyone. And so it's just getting over that bridge so that it can not have that separation all the time between each other and arguing, well, we're right, you guys aren't, and all those kinds of things, goes by the wayside, and then success ensues.
Yeah. Tell us about the merging of faith and logic and what it reveals about human purpose.
Well, those two words, faith and logic, are tremendous aspects of the human being itself. And what they have is they're taught in general education to have logic, to make good decisions, and logical anticipation of what needs to be done. And logic falls, into place in a very scientific way. The faith aspect is about the comforting fact of the spiritual mind realizing that, yes, we can do this. This formula of logical things that we're putting together is going to happen because it's under the pillars of the construct of the universe intelligence and God's wishes, and agree with that, and it will work. It will make things happen for us as a result.
Absolutely. How do you hope your book impacts global society and future generations?
Well, we have a chance for unity, as I say, being a global society. Especially, I'm a part of the IPC, the International Coalition for Peace, and what we do with the Peace Coalition is uniting the planet financially, and also getting things together for working with the societies in Africa and places that are not has as much advantage as the Western societies or European societies, to help them develop more. And the teamwork behind that, which is a great thing, is the understanding of our total development of a planet, so we can merge into the universe community. And there are very many members of the universe community that keep an eye on this planet. They're very concerned about it. They're afraid to stop here. I mean, they do take a look occasionally, but they're trying to get the encouragement across with the very divine spiritual people that they know and work with to make these kind of ideas blossom.
What is one major takeaway you want readers to remember after turning that last page?
Well, the major takeaway is very much the thing I want them to understand in the title of the book. They need to know their purpose of being born and doing this in a flesh being, and their destiny that they have on a universe career when they leave here in a very splendid way. They don't understand that well because it's not taught anywhere. A very amazing thing to continue on God's path in a bigger realm with more energy and availability after the third dimension, in the fourth, fifth, and sixth, and beyond.
Yeah. You see humanity as being on the right or wrong path spiritually?
Well, I think right now they're on the fence. It's a thing where they have been on a kind of a ill path, only because they said the competition between each other is not necessary. But the good path is that many of the faiths are recognizing through education and the scientific quantum energies and those kind of things, realizing, oh yeah, we are of the same thing. There's no difference between us. We are that way. Now, the proof of the matter is, like the mural behind you, the amazing things that humans can do that animals cannot do. We have it. It's given to us. We are the ones. We are the stewards of the planet. And we're expected to take care of that thing, take care of the wildlife, build things that are monumental and helpful to one another, and encourage society to grow. And through the auspices of those great, generous opportunities, through spiritual vitality, it happens.
It's amazing what humans can do, what they can build,
Well,
what they can construct. It's also amazing what they can deconstruct and what they can destroy.
right.
Religion can be such a wonderful um, tool in this world,
Yeah. Yes.
but it also can be a very divisive tool. If you look at Christians and Muslims and Jews and the different
Right.
breakdowns in society and the conflict between religions, what's the answer to that? Each side thinking it's right, and then, you just have such discord.
Well, the answer to that is we're coming into that in the 21st century, realizing that the energy of God is a quantum intelligence that affects everybody the same. Everybody who applies their mind and their spirit to that aptitude of being able to realize what that's about is one and the same thing. As I mentioned, red religions were founded in a very much earlier period of time where they couldn't realize these kinds of things. So now, for the advantage that I have with my book is to compare it with universe energy, and there are 618 civilized planets relatively near us, and some of them are highly advanced, and that's why they travel and come visiting and so forth. And some are kind of in the space we are, and there's some that are a little bit more primitive. But the examples that they have set in their advancements and what they can do is proof positive that applying ourselves to our universe energy and in God we trust makes everything happen for everyone in the best way possible.
Amazing, amazing. Very, very profound. Let me ask you this. How does your work challenge traditional religious or scientific dogma?
Well, what I do is I challenge by example. I pull up examples of what we've been able to do and some of the things that were kind of interesting in the beginning, but became kind of obsolete as we became more intelligent and more, great in what we could accomplish and achieve. And our interests and ideas have to be formulated into new concepts to keep us moving forward. And one of the fun examples I like to use is a doctor who goes to medical school, let's say in the 1950s, and he's living now. He can't just work from his primitive, textbooks from that time when he was in college. There are new improvements, there are new insights that he must look forward to and rise to the occasion of. And
Yeah.
so it's the same in some of the old religious formulas. They've got to realize that there are advancements, especially how we can understand the metaphysical regions and what they're all about, the different dimensions, and how we're part of it. So, and rise to the occasion and see the new insights and see how it contributes to every one of us.
That is a very powerful metaphor. The doctor trained in the 1950s and still practicing today. Certainly, it's a different world. He would have to
Yeah.
retool, rethink, re-educate in order
Yeah.
to get along in a 2025 world. Let's talk about
Sure.
the concept of God. You referred to God as a quantum intelligence before. I thought that was unique. Are some of the ways that we view God in the past in traditional Christianity perhaps outdated? Do you view God as part of the Holy Trinity? Do you view God as Father, Son, and Holy Spirit? And God as a creator? Talk to us about your views of God.
Oh, this is great. I've got a nice little section in my book to clarify that kind of thing. Um, God is a supreme energy, of course, and created the entire universe in the beginning himself. So he has these humans that have a part of him inside them to experience the universe. This is how he experiences us, the universe, by us living in it for him, which is a very interesting prospect to see and understand. So what that does is it puts us in the very, very strong level of creation and the process of creation that God wants us to be a part of as we live now, as we continue on further, and all of that makes so much more sense than some of the old antiquated things with God being up there in the sky somewhere with a beard and throwing lightning bolts around and things like this. It's such a much more pure energy understood and part of him directly. The source is right with us and in us. We don't have to look somewhere else or way off someplace to find where God might be residing or any of that kind of thing. It's present, and we utilize it. We're great.
Is it similar to what the East Asians refer to as chi, the power that they have within?
Yes, yes, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Now, the name of the book, of course, is The Humans Universe and Its Purpose. What is its purpose of this human universe?
Well, in the title there, the humans
Yeah.
apostrophe s it's their universe and they're in it. So being a direct part of it to understand it, so they have purpose clearly in mind of how we're all developing together and can do this as a formula for future success is why the title is like that. And then of course destiny has to do with the greatness that is achieved, and it can go further into greater and greater things as destiny should go, following under In God We Trust.
Absolutely. Talk to us a little bit about your writing career. You've worked on this book for 40 years. So, what's your next chapter that you're going to write? Are you going to write a follow-up, do you think? More reflections? Tell us a little bit about your writings.
Yes, I do. I have an interesting going on right now. After the studying and research for 40 years, I hadn't been writing the book all along. It was at the end of all that I decided to write what we have now, just so people have an encapsulated idea of what's important. Now, the next interesting one I'm working on is called "You Are Your Car." So, in other words, in that example, it's very, very interesting how I illustrate how people resemble their automobile. You go to the dealership to buy a new car, it's a new body. You get it, you drive it around. You drive it and you get out at night and park it in the garage, and there it is, sleeping, quote unquote. And you go off and do what you do. And human minds do the same thing. They leave the body that sleeps at night and go off and take off, and they can't sleep. The mind cannot sleep. The astral projects. And so people need to know how all these things work. And I use the automobile industry as an example for them to realize how it all happens.
Do you feel that when we sleep, our minds, our brains, our thoughts are transported to a different realm?
What they do is they escape the flesh being and go off into the universe on their own randomly. Now, as I learned from the Tibetan lamas, they learned how to astral project. In other words, just before the body falls physically to sleep, they can leave it, by meditative practice to understand, making the connection and go with the mental part of it to many areas that would want to see or understand or visit or learn from. And that's why dreams are so confusing for people, because they don't understand the relationship between what happened to them while they were sleeping and understanding all this confused information like flying and all kinds of peculiar things that happen to them, because the subconscious and the conscious are trying to understand in a conscious sense when a person's awake what happened, but it can't go through all the different fences and the measures between it all. But the Tibetan lamas are able to do all of that very successfully, and I learned exactly how they could perceive and what they could learn, and some of the things that are amazing that happen to this planet by their investigations. And and people can do that. Anybody can do it.
Do you feel that our dreams are a connection to the divine?
Yes, definitely, because that is our spiritual entity and our intelligence that leaves us while the physical sleeps. So it's right in there together. It can achieve many things and be witness to an awful lot, where the physical body, of course, is grounded into the third dimension, and it's just a vehicle for the person to live in.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, that book sounds fascinating. So we can't wait to have you back on the show to talk about that book once it's complete. The book we've been talking about today is wonderful as well. It's 40 years in the making. It wasn't written over 40 years, but Reverend Flash studied over 40 years, thought over 40 years, met with dignified and learned people over 40 years, and composed this book based on that research, that exhaustive research. And it is just amazing. It is a treatise. It is well worth reading. It is The Human Universe and Its Purpose and Destiny. It is a fascinating look at how science and spirit are coming together to shape our future. Reverend, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Great. Thank you.
I appreciate your time, your insight, the wonderful work on this book. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time.